Hello everyone, this is Search Editor, and I'm making a quick video on a Yui660c that I had made and I received. And there was some issues with it that I wanted to make a video on because I thought it was interesting, and there's a potential buyer who wants to see what the issues are. So we have the board here. Actually, the material that this is made out of is brass with a PVD coating, so it is super premium. It is very expensive. You can see the bezel is super smooth and the finish is super nice. It's so soft feeling. And in the controller, I've already mounted the USB-C microcontroller from Baking Pi. So why is the back raw aluminum is the question, and that is because there was some issue during the manufacturing process. I don't know exactly how this issue happened, but the result of it is that the bottom panel that I had made in brass PVD was never test fit. The reason why it was never test fit was because the supplier didn't want to scratch the metals, which is reasonable, but next time they will, and normally they do, but the PVD item was a little bit special and they wanted to be extra careful. And the other issue is that I guess what happened was, my theory is that the part shifted 1 mm or maybe even less on the table as it was being cut out, and that led to the little rim at the top of the inside of the case here that runs around the whole outside of the board to be a little bit too small, and so the brass version will not fit. It's very close, and actually the north-south direction does fit, but the length direction doesn't fit. And no matter how hard you try to squeeze it and force it to go in and then screw it, you're never going to get it to stay in. I've tried many times before. So what I did was I just offset the outside 1 mm to do a test fit. So basically this whole outside profile is just, I grabbed the lines from it, offset it all in 1 mm, and then cut out a new sample out of aluminum for test fitting. And it fits. So that is the good news. The bad news is now I have the bottom out of aluminum rather than brass. And there's a little bit extra of a gap between the aluminum part and the brass part. It's maybe like half a millimeter, between half and 0.75 of a millimeter, but it's really bizarre because the other part won't fit, and I only reduced the size 1 millimeter on all the edges, so the brass item must barely not fit. I did try to measure it. It's a little bit difficult to take measurements on these items, and I don't have a long enough ruler to do it actually. So I'm just going to go through all these screws here and just get them all in, just to confirm that there's no issues with the screw holes lining up, because that was but I did do a test run already with about half the screws and I didn't hit any issues. So it looks like all the screw holes were in the proper positions. So actually, I don't know exactly why it doesn't fit. The other thing that I did to double check that the bottom is not the issue and it's actually the top was I placed the bottom part. So this is the case itself, is the V5 version of the case. And I have a V5 version in aluminum of a top and bottom. And I placed the brass PVD bottom on the aluminum top and it fits fine. So the issue must be the top. I don't know if this is directly related to the PVD coating, but the metals that got PVD coated, the thin items like the back panel, it has a lot of warping, surprisingly, compared to other materials, more than I'm used to, which makes it a little bit harder to handle. I don't know if that's because of PVD or if I just got a piece of metal that was already warped and it was already like that and the PVD had nothing to do with it. I'm not entirely sure there. I'm also considering in the future removing these center screws. I got some feedback that it's not that great aesthetically, but my response is just I like to have a lot of screws. I like to have everything like super well mounted together, but I can understand that sentiment, and to me that makes a lot of sense. And those screws are really not needed. I don't think there's any opportunity for this material to be bouncing around once it's screwed down. I think there's no flex in it really. The PVD material is surprisingly heavy. The brass, when you pick it up, it is deceptively heavy. This is a very interesting board because it's so dense. Okay, let's flip it around. Yep. Yep, I see. Functionally, it's totally good to go. There's no issues on the top machining. Everything's fitting perfectly here. None of the outside keys are hitting or contacting anywhere. So yeah, I do feel that the only issue took place right at that bottom edge. Yep, even now the surface, they're level. The case surfaces are level. Let's see if I can focus. Actually, let me move the camera. So you can see there's that little gap because I had to guess on the number for offsetting. But anyways, that's everything. I just thought it was an interesting issue that I ran into with this board. I do want to make some more videos about the brass board and talk about the weight and the feel of it and stuff, and maybe do a typing test. But firstly, I wanted to go over this because I think this is the most interesting part of this board. So I think that is everything for this video. Thank you very much for taking a look at this. I really appreciate it. And have a great day.